Hi, this is attorney David Gibbs with the National Center for Life and Liberty. The first 4 episodes covered 4 major topics. Number 1, how to have a robust ministerial employment contract. Number 2, how to handle the changing landscape of the culture redefining of discrimination. Number 3, how to protect your ministry from the pitfalls of social media. And then most recently, how to develop strong statements of faith and codes of conduct. These 4 topics are essential to have you in a protected and fortified position in the current social and political environment. Today's episode will discuss more practically the specific issue of having a facility use policy. To some, this topic may seem irrelevant, but many ministries and facilities have utilization by many different people during the week. Some of these uses are not, quote, church-sanctioned events. There are 2 significant areas that we're going to discuss concerning your facility use policies and management. Number 1, the first concern is whether your facility is open or available to the public for rent in any way. Some churches are willing to rent out their fellowship hall or church building for a variety of events, marriages, anniversary celebrations, or even birthday parties. A church in the upper Midwest called our office requesting assistance because they received a call from a couple that wanted to utilize the church facility for their wedding, but they were going to hold a ceremony that the church would not approve of biblically. The church desired to deny their facility usage, and the individuals decided to threaten a lawsuit for discrimination. This began a review of their policies, procedures, and past usage of the facilities. Many churches and pastors would say that their facilities are always used in ways consistent with the statement of faith and beliefs of the ministry. However, sometimes when a review is conducted, there will be instances where a friend of a member or a child of a member conducted something, an event or a ceremony that wouldn't necessarily be entirely consistent with the ministry's policies. Once that occurrence is confirmed, a case can be made that the policy is not followed, and the individuals looking for a discrimination case and their lawyers may have more substantial grounds than believed. How can this be prevented? A facility use policy should be developed that encompasses all of the facility's uses, including any internal and external purposes. For instance, some ministries allow local Christian schools or homeschool groups to utilize the facility for sports practices or games. If a child is injured in the facility during practice or a game, the facility usage policy and insurance policies will dictate liability and coverage. Simply put, who's at fault if there is a broken plank in the floor that causes an injury? Who's at fault if there's water spilled and a child slips and falls? The answers to these questions need to be thought of ahead of time to avoid serious situations later. What should be in a facility usage policy? One of the elements that should be in the policy is whether you will charge or not charge for the usage of the facility. In the earlier illustration of the wedding event, not charging for the use of the space provided the church greater latitude for policing the ministry's policies. Many churches and ministries choose to charge an incidental fee or a cleaning fee that covers the cost of operating the facility during the time of use. However, there is no specific charge for the facility's rental, which avoids certain legal requirements in most states. The policy should also state clearly that all uses for the facility should align with the ministry's code of conduct and statement of faith. This topic was discussed in our previous episode that can be accessed from our website. In general, the policy should define that all events and uses would be consistent with the ministry's faith and practice. This information should be clearly understood when anyone desires to utilize the church facility. The other area of concern is your commercial liability and premises liability insurance policies. Just recently, we were served a lawsuit on behalf of one of our partner churches. The ministry was sued because a young man with his parents wandered off into another section of the church, climbed a ladder into the attic, and fell through the ceiling, requiring multiple surgeries. This tragic one-time incident became a significant lawsuit. Insurance did not cover this specific incident because it was not an approved usage of the building, and the child was not attending a church function at the time. How can I avoid not having adequate coverage? Anyone who is utilizing your facility for any type of function should be covered by insurance. For instance, if a Christian school has its basketball team practicing and playing games at the church, the Christian school should have a policy that covers these practices and games while at your facility. The church that owns the facility should be named as an additional insured on this policy, oftentimes called an event policy. This overlap in coverage ensures that the church is not vulnerable to having their insurance deny a claim while the Christian school's insurance declines the claim. Every group that uses the facility should be covered by an insurance policy, either the church's policy or the group's policy or a specific event policy. How can I find out if our insurance covers these different usage scenarios? It would be best if you had a conversation with your insurance carrier or agent or provider to discuss each of the scenarios that are presently being done within your facilities. The world has become way too litigious, even within Christian school groups, to believe that you will not get sued. Protecting your ministry's assets and ensuring that one incident does not risk your ministry is vitally important to your church's good stewardship. At the NCLL, we want your ministry to experience maximum ministry with minimum liability. Please spend time ensuring that your facility usage policy is up to date and the policy protects your ministry from any usage that could harm your work for the Lord. You can send your policies to info@ncll.org, and our legal team will review them to help ensure you've covered all of the necessary areas of concern. Use your facility for God, but make sure you're doing it safely.